C-zar Wisemen is a rapper, poet, and aspiring actor from Charlottesville, Virginia. C-zar describes his childhood in Charlottesville as fairly normal, but he did have trouble in school from an early age. Instead of offering encouragement and guidance, his teachers antagonized him, making C-zar, who was an already quiet and withdrawn kid, retreat even further into himself. To escape the turmoil of his school life, C-zar began writing poetry as a way to get his feelings out. Influenced by the shows and artists he watched on BET, MTV, and VH1, his writing then evolved into rap. He hasn't stopped writing since. He began working on starting a rap career in Charlottesville by studying iconic rap artists, collaborating with like-minded friends, and saving money to buy equipment. But when the ball finally got rolling and he found himself in the studio ready to record his first album, C-zar landed in some trouble. He was incarcerated. But while he was in jail, C-zar made a decision that once he got out, he would never find himself locked up again, and he would use his words and his music to try and help inspire and encourage others. I'm Bobby Gonzalez, and this is Spoken Dreams.
What's up? My name is C-zar Wisemen from Charlottesville, Virginia. Living right here currently in Los Angeles, California. Rapper, poet, and actor, and owner of the label, independent label, Philosophy Entertainment, LLC. My origins were in Charlottesville, Virginia, Central Virginia. Yeah, life in Charlottesville, Virginia, was pretty normal. Except when I got to school, though, I had a lot of weird, strange things that happened to me from adults that I feel like shouldn't have happened, which it was pretty, torment for me, And I was a pretty good, half decent kid, I didn't like school that much. I didn't like school at all, actually. I hated getting up in the morning. I was not that sociable in school because I was afraid to be around large crowds and stuff like that. So, I had my set group of friends. They were the popular guys, but we all lived in the same neighborhood, and I had a pretty somewhat normal upbringing, but they singled me out, they really, I don't know, it was because I stayed to myself or what. They did a lot of nitpicking, and I didn't help any by having somewhat of a temper. Now, I had a temper because out of defense, I stayed in school, out of school suspensions. I stayed in fist fights all the time, and it was a lot of pressure. I think when I started really noticing that I would say different, but not different in a bad way, different in a good way. That I wasn't the typical, was probably junior high school. I say from 6th grade, And my parents actually had to go to school and talk to the teachers because they were even saying, what you're doing is inappropriate. Saying things that they shouldn't be saying to me. They were almost kind of acting like the students. They were going backwards. They were, saying things that kids my age would be saying, I feel like they should have rose above that and helped me. And there was I actually had word from teachers who actually got fired from the school staff and actually later told my mom that they were plotting to actually get me out of school, and actually put me in a behavior program, which I didn't really have a behavior problem, but they were trying to actually plot to get me out of there. And that's what made school hard. I wasn't a lazy kid. I was just shut down. I was like, hey, these teachers ain't really trying to have my best interest. So I was just like, what's the point of even being here? I'm trying to learn. I come every day, despite of how I'm being treated. So that actually, looking back on hindsight, helped me write about that, because there could be a young black boy and young black girl in the United States and abroad that may hear my message and say, hey, I'm not alone. Someone else who came before me went through it too. And that's a good way to put into my my craft, my music, because music is powerful. It influences people. It influenced me, and I feel like sharing those things, it helps maybe even mold someone else's story. So to escape the madness, I had a large music collection. I came from a family that had a good music collection, and my first introduction to music was actually watching it on TV as well. I would watch BET, and I would watch MTV and VH1 and those shows, but particularly BET, because it had Rap City, it had Video Soul, and they showed like the most current hip hop videos that was out at the time, and it was around the era of the New Jack Swing area. In my opinion, since I'm an '80s baby, we always feel like whose generation of music is better in hip hop. I honestly personally feel like '90s hip hop was the best, so I grew up listening to that, and that I start off as a fan. I go out to the store and go buy cassette CDs of the current rappers that was out. My mom will always take me. She always buy me 2 cassettes. Of my choice. One would be an R&B, one would be a hip hop. So my early inspirations is 80s, 90s hip hop. In early 2000s was pretty good too. So that's how I started. But I got to be around, I say about 16, 17 years old. That's the age when you're, coming into, they say your own and somewhat. You're heading into adulthood. Everyone in school's talking about college and all that. I'm a pretty unique person, so I was just like, yo, I'm about to be 18. I don't want to go 4 more years of school. I feel like, college and stuff, I'm not knocking it none. It's just not for everybody. Just like a 9 to 5 is not for everybody. I had like odd jobs and stuff. I was always kind of scared to tell people, because the area I'm from in Charlottesville, sometimes, like anywhere else, someone, you don't have naysayers like, oh, you ain't gonna be no rapper. Go, who makes it out of Charlottesville? Because I come from an area where other genres made it, but particularly in rap, hip hop, no one really like took it to that level. So that made me want to do it anymore, to be a pioneer. Like the greats that I studied that were the first, and when they come back home, they're like admired and like, man, I want to be like, So, when I got that itch is when I pulled out the paper and pen. I was like, I want to try this. So I started writing with many failed attempts, like anything in life. You try. And one day, it was like a day before my 17th birthday, I was sitting down. I was, watching the tube, and I had that pen and paper, and I wrote my first few bars. It all spilled out on the paper. It was just like some energy, some beam that came into me where it just took over, and I haven't stopped writing since.
And then what happened? All about money, yo. Yo, I'm all about that money now.
Within a year, I had like stacks of composition books written. This is gonna be for the album, and this is gonna be for my book and stuff like that. I said, I really gotta take this to the next level. So actually, I was doing everything simultaneously. I was like learning music gear, and I was purchasing music gear, and then I was like, I had a couple friends who had the same interests. I said, I want to start a group, and that group became the Philosophers, which helped me later with it with different members. But they were in the group, and we had a thing where, we would have writing sessions at my house. We would sit down, write, and we would put on music and write to it, and just basically get a feel of how the structure goes. I was kind of learning as I was doing it. I was taking money from jobs and putting it into the gear, and after a while I got frustrated because I couldn't find nobody who could help me with the gear, as I was studying it. So I just said, you know what, I'm gonna go into this studio. Maybe that's easier. And a friend of mine who was part of the group, he found a studio. I went in, got a tour, and that was the first of me being in an actual studio. I did demos on my gear that I said prior, but that led me into doing my first full-length album, which is called C-zar Wisemen, The New Testament. C-zar Wisemen is actually a name that I developed and then later got it legally changed. So I didn't want to really use my actual real name because I felt like that name was common and it didn't mean anything because I'm a man of meaning. C-zar Wisemen means ruler of wisdom with personalities of 7. Now, 7 people say is the lucky number, or in the way of life called 5%er. 5%ers, believe in 7 meaning God. That means completion. Your views on the world, you feel is yours, and you're not basically ruled. So each letter in my last name, Wiseman, symbolizes a personality trait. Like, for example, W stands for warrior. I stands for intelligent. Wisemen, warrior, intelligent, smooth, educated, mean, emperor, notorious. Each initial describes a personality trait that I have, that I feel like that I possess. I can be the warrior, I can be intelligent, I can be smooth, I can be educated, I can be an emperor, I can be mean and notorious. And that ties in with the whole image of C-zar Wisemen. I say it's 50% image and 50% way of life. And the emperor relates back to my word name, C-zar. Tsar is a Russian noun, and I took that because I feel like that I am an emperor of myself. Added with the hyphen to make it more distinct and unique. Because my whole view was I wanted a distinctive name with meaning, and the seventh letter in the alphabet is G, and G is the first letter of God, and that's who I feel like that I personally am. So that's what C-zar Wiseman means in a whole nutshell. So when prior to the album, I had some issues where, I was I just put it out there. I was incarcerated. It was definitely a dark period. It really made particularly my mom frustrated at me, because she's like, how you this is messing up what you're trying to do. It's a setback. Coming from her background, it's probably embarrassing for both of us, and it was very frustrating to be in the studio one minute and then you're sitting in that cell the next minute, and it's all you can do is write, but you're like, man, I'm right there at the door to get this stuff out, and this happens. But I always kept saying, and I kept saying in there, I'm once I get out, I'm gonna finish it up and make sure I never come back in here again, because that's what it is, a huge setback. And you're around a bunch of guys where, like it is on the street, you're around the negative ones and you're around the positive ones, the inmates forever, and you're gonna have the same thing. The naysayers, y'all, you ain't gonna do it, and you got the ones that say, man, when you do it, get out and stay out. And it made me more determined, more focused. It made me want to, see not the whole United States, but the world with the talent, and just made me want to stay, and then help other black males to stay out of this position too. We all got negatives and positives that we want to share and don't want to share, and I feel like it's another tool, a writing tool, write about your experience, because like I said earlier about the whole school thing, it can help somebody else in that position. So at the time, I look back on it and was, upset, angry, depressed, all type of stuff. But looking back on it now, maybe it was meant for that to happen in order to tell the story to help someone else, turning a negative into a positive. 10 months later, I released the album, and when I got that album, I said my vision was like, yeah, I'm gonna promote in Charlottesville, and then I wanted to go out to the West Coast, to LA, and see if I can get a following there, and that's what I did. Once the album came out, I was promoting. I was networking with all the local rappers, local producers, networking with a lot of people that's in the local media, and I was just trying to get the word out. And then I spent some time out here in Los Angeles and was promoting as well, and I was just basically just going around, making my rounds, just getting the word out. And the feel of having your first CD in your hand is felt like, man, this is what I work towards. This is something that's mine. I'm holding it. I'm seeing my face on it. I'm hearing back what I've done. I'm letting people hear it and getting reviews, and sending it out to A&Rs and getting their reviews and record companies. And I'm just like, it's still to that. It felt surreal somewhat, but you know, it shows how when you stay consistent with something and you stick with it over and over and over until it actually becomes something that exists, that still will be here after you're long gone. That's a great feeling, you know, and people can always still go back and listen to it from years from now, purchase it years from now, and something that you done then, and it's still relevant today. That's a great feeling for artists, and that's how I felt when my first album and single came out. I felt like, man, this is a great feeling. It's like when you have something up here in your head, and then you put it out so where other people can experience it. It's a great feeling. What made me make the decision to move to Los Angeles after visiting so many times and other states too and promoting was, you know, in life, a person gets that thing in them where they just like, I want to change. I want to change my scenery. You know, I want to live somewhere different. I want to experience different people. I want to do a whole new reinvention, you know, and that's basically how I viewed it. I wanted to live somewhere else. I wanted to, you know, say that I actually lived somewhere besides Charlottesville. And I was like exploring my ideas. I was like, should I go back to LA to stay? Should I go to New York? Because, you know, I studied the hip hop culture, and that's where hip hop came from, the Bronx. And should I go to New York? New York's closer to Virginia, but I'm familiar with Los Angeles, and I want to, you know, break into doing movies. So that's a good thing, because, you know, they say Hollywood, LA is the entertainment capital. So, you know, you do rap it, act it, anything. And then my third choice was Memphis, because I had a little network down there in Memphis, Tennessee. See, people sleep on Memphis. You know, that's a music town too. So it was them three. So I was battling with that for several months. LA, New York, or Memphis. But I want to go to LA because you could do everything entertainment-wise there. I say about the fall of 2010, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back what I'm familiar with. I made my decision. I'm going to go to LA. And that's what I did. And then when I get rid of a lot of things and just want to start off fresh, you know, all the material that I have and stuff I'm working on. I said, Mom, Dad, I'm heading to LA. I told all my boys, and I was like, I'm heading to LA. Everybody was pretty supportive. They said, go for it, man. You know, take it to the next level, you know, take it to the next level. So I caught that plane and came back out here to LA, familiar territory. And when I came back out here, I was like, man, I'm really doing it. I'm really actually going to live out here. You know, it really wasn't scary at all, because like I said, I was familiar with it. And when I came out here, I felt, to be honest, I felt like this is like my second home, you know, my second adopted home, you know, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I plan to take over now. That was my mentality. It still is to this day, you know, and I felt I don't regret none of it. I'm glad that I did it. I'm glad I did it at the time I did, and I knew if I would have did it now, I would have been upset at myself that I waited too long. Because a lot of people in Charlottesville want to do it, but I think they get scared. And I wanted to be an example. Hey, if I can do it, you can do it too. I feel more creative than ever now. People say compete with other artists. I'm more collaborative, you know. So it's almost like you help each other. You know, you raise their game, they raise your game. And that's all I always really a lot of times wanted. I always wanted the collaborations and people working with you, having the same vision. And it's a lot easier out here with that, because there's a lot of people doing it. People look at it like LA is going to be too much competition. Well, not really, because if you work with the right set of people, you all have the same vision. You guys are a team, and that's all I wanted was a team. You know, a team of people that can serve your vision better. So that really helped me out here with that. What I'm doing now is I'm preparing to release two albums, one an EP and one an LP. My whole goal is to take philosophy and entertainment to the next level. Like, I want it to be nationwide and worldwide. I know that might sound like a stretch to certain people, but I want it to be purely independent, away from corporate. And I'm building extensions to it too. I'm about to start a publishing company, and I'm about to start a production company. So they're all gonna be extensions of philosophy and entertainment. Basically growing. I'm more business minded now. I'm playing more behind the scenes. I got other things going on too. A lot of things coming out for the 2017, 2018. And it's gonna be good. I feel it.
Everybody got a story. It just depends what you do with it to inspire people in life from being oppressed. Rise above to be great.
For the people that want to pursue a dream, it can be anything, not just what I do. Just dreams. Period. Make it into reality. One of the top many advice that I give is that stay away from critical, negative people, because I've seen people's dreams plummet because of being around negative people. Stay away from them, period. Get around people who is positive and encouraging. So that's what I say, and use your and don't just do it just for you. Don't just look at yourself, but use it to help the stranger that you don't know. Because like I said, music or anything is a powerful thing. And someone's going to be listening, and someone's going to be encouraged, and someone's going to actually feel the need to want to push through as well. And that's, like I said, that's in any dream. If you, I don't care what you want to do. If it's something that's real big, that's too far-fetched for someone else, that should give you a reason to want to do it. So I tell everybody in the world that's listening, you got a dream, go for it. Every single day, every minute, every second counts. Don't waste it. Use your time wisely, because it will pay off in life with interest, and you'll be happy that you did it. That's what I feel like life is. Do what you want to do that's positive, help others, you'll sleep better at night.
Some real stuff, man. You dig? My life.
C-zar Wisemen is definitely sleeping better at night. In addition to working on new music and a new poetry book, C-zar is committed to expanding his record label so that he can help elevate other artists like himself. But one of my favorite things that C-zar is working on, a sneaker. That's right, C-zar Wisemen is going to have his own sneaker. Definitely sign me up for a pair. If you'd like more information on C-zar or this episode, head to our website, ktla.com/spokendreams. Be sure to also like the podcast on Facebook and check us out on Twitter and Instagram @SpokenDreamsPod. For more inspiring Hollywood stories, be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Podbean, or wherever you get podcasts. That's all for this week. Until next time, break a leg. Spoken Dreams is produced by me, Bobby Gonzalez, for the KTLA 5 News in Los Angeles. Executive producers are Olson Ebright and Jason Ball. And I'd love to hear from you. Tell me what you thought of this week's story, or even tell me your own story. You can shoot me an email at spokendreams@ktla.com.